Glenn Wilson, Tyler Tullis, first edition of Pigskins and Mortgage Wins, a weekly show that Tyler and I are excited to put together and bring to all of you every week to take some time and just talk about football. Thank God football season is here. Seems like it takes forever to get here, and we're going to talk about some stuff that's going on in real estate, because I think there's a lot of noise right now around what the real estate market looks like. And I think if we're watching national news and that type stuff, a lot of what we see on TV we're not really seeing here in Montgomery, right?
You're exactly right. I try to tune that stuff out.
Amen.
Stay away from the noise, because that stuff can bring you down if you start listening to everything that they're putting out. So again, like you said, I'm not seeing the same stuff that they're putting out, but we'll talk about some of that stuff.
No doubt, some good stuff to share with everybody. So here's how we're going to do this show every week. We're going to talk about football. We're going to try to keep it for where we know most of our tuning in audience is going to be, some SEC, but we may veer out of the SEC every once in a while. Talk about games, have some fun, make some picks. In the description of the video down below, you're going to see a link to a Google Drive where you can go in and make your selections every week. So we are going to pick against the spread. I need to throw that caveat out there. So we're not picking winners, we're picking against the spread. And we're going to have 5 games every week that we're going to do a quick high-level overview of, talk a little bit about those games. You'll be able to select the winner, or you'll be able to select against the spread. And then we're going to have a tiebreaker, right? So if we have some folks that tie, we'll have a tiebreaker every week that will be a 6th game, and the tiebreaker is going to be guessing the score every week. We know how that goes sometimes, right? Picking against the spread is hard. Picking the score is really hard.
Yeah, it is. I actually wrote down some scores on mine for this, but I'm here to tell you, please don't bet the farm on what I tell you on here, because these are best guesses on my side here. So please don't take this to Vegas or anything like that.
Or local man.
Yeah,
Vegas or local man.
That's true. Local bookie man.
I think for people that watch, probably the safer bet will be go against what I pick. That tends to be the way things roll. And hey, every week we're going to have some cool stuff that we're going to give out to the winner. You guys see Tyler's got these Movement Mortgage footballs. Everybody knows we got the best T-shirts and the best swag in the business. So the weekly winners we'll announce on Mondays. Tyler and I will put a video together to announce it and get up with each one of you to give out the prizes. So I'm excited, man. You excited? You ready to roll?
Man, I'm fired up. I've been looking forward to this for weeks.
I am too. So let's jump in, man. So we got some good games to kick off. I guess they call this week 1. Last week was week 0.
Yep.
But me and you were coming up like week 1 is like cupcake week, right? And we got some cupcakes, right? Our team has a cupcake this week, but usually it's cupcake weeks. But I love how things have kind of shifted over the past few years to now there's some marquee games that you're going to see on week 1.
There are some good ones. Man, what we've got Notre Dame and Ohio State. We've got Georgia and Oregon. You get to see what Bo Nix has with wearing the crazy duck uniforms over there.
That's right.
And even Arkansas and Cincinnati, that's a top 25 matchup.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of cupcakes, which is probably good for a lot of these teams to get all the rust off and get under the lights and with a real it's real now, right?
That's it.
It's real.
It's real. Week 1 is here. So, hey, you mentioned it. Let's talk about the first game that's going to be on the docket that everybody's going to see. So, top 25 matchup, 2 teams, Cincinnati traveling into Arkansas. This is an ESPN game, 2:30 kickoff. So, not the early bird game, but this is one where folks are getting the juices flowing and tuning in, and a good way to start off the day with a good game. So, hey, so this game, there's a couple things about Cincinnati. Cincinnati last year was the first group of 5 team to make the college football playoffs. Didn't really work out all that well for them last year, but Cincinnati had a strong season last year, but they've suffered a lot of losses. When you look at that roster, there's a lot of folks that have depleted out, and they got a lot of holes to fill this year.
They do. They lost their quarterback. They lost their best wide receiver. They lost their best defensive back. All of them are in the pros now, so they got some holes to fill. This should be a good game, though. I think for Cincinnati, QB is probably going to be their big question mark.
Yeah.
But man, Luke Fickell has really been recruiting well, and I mean they're there year after year. So now, like you said, it didn't work out well against SEC competition for them last year, but I think this is going to be a good game.
I think so too. I got a couple of Arkansas buddies that love the direction that the Razorbacks are going in. One of them being Mr. Razorback himself, John Sadie. We've had some conversations about Arkansas football. He seems excited about the direction they're going. Hey, you nailed it. A couple things. So, new starter that hasn't been announced yet. Got a couple of guys to choose from there. You mentioned the holes on defense that they've got to fill. Last year, Arkansas raised some eyebrows, right? So 9-4 last year, 4-4 in the SEC. SEC is a tough place to, especially the SEC West competition that's there. But I think Arkansas fans pleasantly surprised with a 9-4 season last year. And you remember last year, Arkansas gave Bama fans a little bit of a scare last year.
Yeah, they did. There's a lot of people that are high on the Hogs.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Well done.
And hey, KJ Jefferson, man, let's talk about him for a minute. That dude is a monster. Weighs like 6'3", 250. Runs the ball a lot. He's like the number 2 QB in the SEC behind Bryce Young.
Yeah.
In the preseason expectations or whatever you want to call those, but
he's a stud.
They're expecting some big things out of him.
He's a stud, and you'd have to think, going back to what you said before with Cincinnati having a lot of holes to fill on defense, that's going to be a big challenge for them and probably a lot of focus of concentrating on KJ. All right, so first meeting between these two teams. You got Cincinnati coming into Arkansas. Arkansas is a 6.5-point favorite at home. Thoughts on that?
I think that the Hogs win a close one, but they're not going to cover. So I'm going with the Bearcats.
Bearcats. Strong pick. I struggled with this one. I really did, and this is one of those where I'm giving the advantage to the home team. So again, like I teed it up earlier, if you are working with Local Man or somebody, you may want to go against me. I'm going to go with, and really a lot of it is because I think that KJ Jefferson is going to have a solid game. Look, last year, 67% completion rate. The guy threw for 2,700 yards, 21 touchdowns. If he can keep that momentum going against a defense that's got some holes to fill, I think that could be a good day. So I'm going to go with Razorbacks. Razorbacks will be my pick.
All right, so we've started off. You picking one way, me picking the other. I love it.
Let's see how this one goes.
Yeah.
This one, all right, so next one, Oregon and Georgia. You teed that up earlier. So Oregon comes in ranked 11th. Playing this game, this is 2:30 ABC kickoff. This is going to be at the Mercedes-Benz. They don't call it the Superdome in Georgia, right? Just the Mercedes-Benz Dome in Georgia. A lot of firsts for Oregon. So we've got a first-year coach that actually came from Georgia.
Yeah.
So you got a little bit of that's going to be built into the game that may create some rivalry. We talked about Bo Nix. They haven't officially named him as the quarterback yet, but Mark Rick in an interview said yesterday, he said, we already know who's going to be the quarterback. We're not concerned about that. But Bo Nix, highly recruited. Everybody knows his story at Auburn, knows his ability at Auburn. Putting on that duck uniform, an offense that likes to open it up, move it around. Seems like this may be a better fit offensively for Bo than what he was in before.
I agree.
But man, thoughts on this game? I think this is going to be a good one.
Here's what I think on this one. The dogs are loaded. Stetson Bennett, the mailman. I think he could throw it to their 3 NFL tight ends that they've got. What Gilbert, Bowers, Washington, these all guys that'll play on the next level. I think they could throw it to them all game and run the ball a little bit and run away with it. My pick on this one is that the Ducks' effort is going to be lame. Go Dogs! I'm hunkering down with them.
This one I struggled with this one too. I may sound like a broken record. So Georgia is a 17-point favorite in this game at home. 17 is a lot of points. Georgia has lost. So check this out. Georgia lost 15 players from that national championship team last year. 15 players to the NFL draft. Then they lost 13 players to the transfer portal.
Oh wow,
that's a lot of folks that have lost. And 5 first-round draft picks from defense, which is unheard of. Oregon has some things that they're looking to fill. Here's one thing about Oregon that I didn't know that I learned looking at this a little bit. The tight end on their team, Spencer Webb, passed away earlier this year in a tragic accident that happened at the lake. And, this team is really rallying around Spencer Webb and his family. The Oregon Ducks are going to have a decal on the back of their helmet that's a spider web with the number 4 in there, which was Spencer Webb's number. So some added, I guess, motivation in there to play for that. And it'll be interesting to see how the Ducks, try to rally around Bo and coming back in and playing against a former SEC foe. So I'm with you. I think 17 points is a lot of points, especially with a lot of holes to fill. I think Georgia's very good. I think Georgia wins this game, but I don't think they win it by more than 17 points. So I'm going to take the Ducks with the 17 points for this game. I like that pick. All right, Tyler, let's go to Game 3. Then we'll talk about a mortgage win. So Game 3, Utah. What? Utah? But this game could be interesting, right? So number 7, Utah, is coming into Florida as a 3-point favorite. That's a 6 o'clock kickoff on ESPN. And that's a big deal. That's prime time, right?
Yeah,
so,
no doubt.
These ESPN suits are smart guys. They're when they're picking that prime time game, they're picking one where they see the potential for one that could be a really, really good football game. Debut game for Billy Napier as head coach.
Yep.
In Utah, a lot of people may not realize this, but they're coming in as the defending Pac-12 champions. This is a good football team.
Yeah, they almost beat Ohio State in the Rose Bowl.
Yep.
It came down to the wire. They returned, I think, at 17 starters from last year's team. 9 of them were all-conference players. So this team's coming back with some talent. By the way, do you know what a Ute is?
I don't know that you mentioned that, though.
I didn't either. And so I was like, man, I got to figure out what this is. What is a Ute, by the way? And it's a Native American tribe that the state of Utah is named after.
Okay.
So
well, that makes sense because of the feather thing that they have hanging from the logo.
And now their mascot is actually a red-tailed hawk. So,
okay.
But yeah.
Do they have anything like Go Hawks or anything like that? Auburn gets a bad rap with the whole War Eagle, and
I didn't dig that. Maybe
we'll figure that.
Go Utes. I don't know.
How do you spell Ute?
UTE.
UTE. All right, there we go.
Yeah. So
I like that.
Yeah. The other thing about this game is that is AR-15 Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
He had some glimpses last year where, he was a human highlight reel there for a few weeks. Got a little bit banged up. It slowed him down a little bit.
Yeah.
But this kid's got some talent. So we'll see what Florida can do and what the supporting cast around him looks like. I still think that the Gators are probably a year or two away and getting Napier's people in there, They've struggled the last couple of years. I think on this one, I think the Utes swoop into the swamp.
I say that 10 times fast.
And pull out a victory. I'm going Utes win 31-24.
Nice. Okay. I agree with AR-15. That guy, people are picking him to possibly be a top 10 draft pick this year. The dude's 6'4", 240 pounds. 6'4", 240, and the dude runs a 4.40 at that size.
Runs like a deer,
man. Stud. So I'm with you. I think Napier is going to be the guy that Florida has wanted to have there. That that hole they've been trying to fill coaching wise, but I think it's going to take them a year or two. You can't. The SEC is so blessed with excellent atmospheres for night games, and Florida is one of those. So it's going to be tough for the Utes to come in there, but Utah's a 3-point favorite. I think Utah wins that game, but I think it's going to be a good close game. And like I said, the ESPN guys are smart. They know what they're doing when they pick a primetime game. So
there's no doubt.
All right, let's hit the pause button for a second on talking about some football, and let's talk a little bit about mortgage wins. So Tyler, we teed it up in the beginning. Current market is getting a bad rap. Stay away from the news and all that stuff that you're reading. The Tri-County area, we're blessed with an incredible area. We're blessed with a healthy market, right? Our market has not been immune to some of the stuff that's happened nationally, But overall, we have a good, healthy market, and now's a great time to buy. So tell us a mortgage win.
It really is. And the other thing that I'm seeing a lot is that, especially on the media, is about how the home prices are just bottoming out and not seeing it.
That's right.
I think that we saw such rapid appreciation over the past year. What, it was 18%, I think was the figure on it.
Yep.
And that's not normal. So I think what's happening right now, you're not seeing depreciation. You're just seeing that things are starting to level off a little bit right there. But home prices are not really coming down. They're just not. We're not seeing as many of the situations where the home's listed for sale today and there's 25 offers on there in 1 or 2 days.
Yep.
We're not seeing that now. We're starting to see that some of the sellers are paying closing costs and stuff like that again. We're seeing realtors out doing open houses again and stuff like that. So I agree with you there. Things are kind of getting back to normal, but the past year has been just absolutely crazy bonkers in the real estate market. And I think if you ask most people, they would say they like it when it's more in the normal cycle than in the other. Because it's really stressful in the other when it's like it has been for the past year. But one thing that I like about what we do is we get to help people change their lives through home ownership every day. And I'm working with a couple right now that'll be the first homeowners in their entire family.
It's awesome.
So they'll be the first ones on either side to buy a home. And so they're breaking the chain, right?
Yeah.
They're breaking the chain. They're creating a movement of change within their own family that will provide an opportunity for them to build generational wealth. And so these stories like this are near and dear to my heart. We see them all the time. And so I thought I would share that one. But hey, real estate's a great way for you to build wealth.
Yep.
And this family is, like I said, breaking the chain. They're doing that, and there's a lot of people out there that want to be able to do that right now. And hey, we've got the products that can help them do it.
Amen. I love that. You're so right, man. It's wealth, and a lot of folks will describe it as generational wealth.
Yeah.
That's one of those things where buying a home, going back to the appreciations, when you compare long-term year-over-year appreciation rates compared to investments in markets and bonds and those type things, owning a home and the annual appreciation rate that you can get out of that over long-term is a great investment vehicle to help build generational wealth.
It's a forced savings account.
Yeah, that's right.
You pay down, a portion goes to the lender to pay for to pay down your balance, or a portion is into forced savings, essentially, for when you're paying down the principal. The interest goes to the lender, but everything that you pay down, you're building equity, and then as the home value goes up, it's going this way, the balance is going this way. So it's an easy way. With home price, we're still expected to see home prices appreciate about 5% year over year for the next 5 years. So still a great investment. If you wait, it could cost you more to buy a year, 3 years, 5 years down the road. You're probably going to be paying more for the house.
Well said. And you may not have noticed there, but you did a Heisman move when you were talking about the balance going down. You did a Heisman move there.
I know. I don't even.
And hey, one thing just to tap on what you just said before we get back into some picks, the cost of waiting is expensive. I saw a couple of posts on Facebook in the last week where folks were just kind of tossing out, asking for feedback from folks around hey, what are you seeing, or is now a great time to buy? And some people kind of throw in some opinions to say, I think you should wait. I think that what you said earlier, I think the market's going to crash. And folks, Tyler and I are both on the same page. We do not think we're looking at seeing a crash. This is very different than 2008, right? The challenge that we have in this market right now is supply and demand. There are more people that want to buy a house than there are homes that are available. And another part of that challenge is we're still coming off supply issues from COVID in 2020, right? So our home builder partners that are out here, they're building these homes as quick as they can, but a lot of them are being challenged with when they can get supplies in. We've got a 4-year gap to meet new construction demand. And what that means is it's going to take us 4 years to get back up to speed with building new construction homes to meet the demand for people that want to buy new construction. So we need new construction to come back to help open up inventory and help control this supply and demand situation in. So as long as the demand exceeds the supply, a crash really isn't in our near view.
And what's the number? It's like 12 or 13 million more households today than what we had in 2008.
That's right.
In 2008, there were a lot of vacancies, a lot of foreclosures. Those are at not just low; those are at all-time lows right now.
Yep.
And so, again, all the ingredients, you can watch the news and think the sky's falling, or you can pay attention to the data, which tells you otherwise.
That's right. That's right. So the cost of waiting, folks, is expensive. Waiting 6 months could cost you, a pretty significant increase in the price of homes, and who knows what rates are going to do. The cost of waiting is expensive. Now's a great time to buy. And now's a great time to talk about our last couple of games that we have as well. So this may be the only week in all the weeks that we do this where we're going to mention back-to-back teams from Utah.
If we had BYU in here, we would have the state of Utah covered from top to bottom.
We need to expand our viewership into the West Coast, into Utah. We're going to talk a little bit about Utah State, and these guys have a tough challenge for them coming into Tuscaloosa. I think this Alabama team has a little bit of a chip where they don't like the way last season ended, and they're ready to come out and punch some people in the mouth and take that crown back. Hey, I read this morning. Utah State is getting a $1.9 million payday to come into Tuscaloosa for this game, and that's a pretty significant impact for a smaller school like Utah State that. They don't have the type of funding that we see here in the SEC, so that's a big deal for them. But they got a big challenge ahead of them this Saturday coming into Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, I hope they bring some ice tubs.
Use some of that $1.9 million.
Yeah, they're going to need it for some of these medical bills. I think they're about to get smashed right in the mouth.
Oh, man.
Alabama's got the best player in college football on offense with Bryce Young.
Yep.
They got the best player in college football on defense with Will Anderson. That dude reminds me of like Derek Thomas.
Yeah.
DT number 55 back in the day, man. That dude was a beast. This guy is very likely going to be the number one pick in the draft next year. He's a lot of fun to watch.
He is. He's a stud.
He's going to wreak havoc on the Aggies.
He's a stud.
Today.
Don't you know he's ready for Saturday?
Yeah.
And he's going to be one of those guys where, at some point it's going to be time to pull these guys out. The starters to get a break and let some of the other guys play, which is good. Back to one of your points at the beginning when we started talking, this will be a game where Bama should be able to get some other guys some reps in early, but he's not going to want to come off the field.
No, and Saban lets those guys play. Like, he keeps those starters in there pretty deep into like the third quarter sometimes too, but I think this one's going to get ugly fast.
I think the lines makers agree with you, right? So we got Bama as a 41.5 point favorite at home. And I thought about last year. I've got a small group of some high school guys that we meet on Saturdays, and we'll do picks like this too. And there was a lot of weeks where Bama was 38, 41, 43, and the guys we'd all allow. That's a lot of points to cover, and it seemed like a lot of times they covered it.
Yeah.
And to your point, I think it's some of these guys playing a little bit deeper.
I think they score as much as they want to in this one. I think Bama rolls 63-10. I've got them covering the points.
Yeah, I think I don't disagree with you there. I think this one's going to get ugly quick, and I think it's going to get out of hand. I think it's going to be one of those things where the Utah State coach may be asking for like a running clock in the fourth quarter, something along those lines. But let me play devil's advocate for a second, and don't throw stones right now because I think Alabama wins this game outright. But I got a little bit of a twitch when I started thinking about Utah State, right? So we go back to 2011, Auburn's coming off of a national championship appearance and play Utah State. And I remember into the first quarter, like, uh-oh. Halftime was uh-oh. Fourth quarter was uh-oh. 3 minutes and 28 seconds left in the game. Auburn was down and had to rally to come back and win that game. 42-38, I think, was the final score, somewhere in that range. I mean, it was one where I think the point in that is saying is that sometimes these ones that seem like a steamroll could come up and surprise you. I don't think that's going to happen this week. But you never know what's going to show up if you're overlooking somebody.
Thanks for bringing that one. I had
you erased that one.
That one was completely wiped out of the memory bank, and you just brought it back.
I know. I'm sorry.
So I really appreciate you doing that.
I'm sorry.
Seems like we've had a few of those over the years.
It does
for the Auburn Tigers, but
so it was 38. Auburn was losing 38-28. With 3 minutes and 28 seconds left in the game, and then ended up winning 42-38.
Wow.
Remember, it was an onside kick and all this weird stuff, crazy stuff that happened. But I'm with you. I'm taking Bama, 41.5 point favorite. I think they win that game pretty easy.
So is that the first? We agreed on the last two.
Yeah, we've agreed on the last two. How about that?
Wow.
We have to arm wrestle over the prize if you and I win instead of going to the tiebreaker or something like that. All right, last game, Game 5, Florida State, LSU. This one piques my interest a little bit. My brother-in-law is a Florida State fan, so we always have fun poking back and forth at each other during college football season. LSU, a lot of firsts that they've got. They've got some holes to fill. This is a game on Sunday. This is a 6:30 kick on ABC on Sunday. Got Brian Kelly. A lot of people poking at him in the off season because of some of these cheesy TikTok videos and things he was doing with some of his players. But
he's like a robot in those things. You got that little thing, that little stage that spins around, and he's making these awkward poses and stuff with it. He just looks like a creeper in those things.
He did. It was somebody didn't prep him well enough to teach him to loosen up some, but I think the kids rally around that stuff. They love a coach that's willing to get in and let his guard down and do that kind of stuff. A lot of the chatter coming out of there is a lot of these guys love him, and I think they're being able to rally around him and wanting to perform well for him. But LSU does have some gaps to fill on both sides of the football, and Florida State has the advantage of coming into this game already playing a game last week. They played week 0.
They got some of the cobwebs out last week. This game is in New Orleans, which is, as we know, the Cajuns are going to be ready for this.
That's
one.
right.
They'll be fired up.
6:32.
Yeah, they'll be good and lubed up for that game. No, I think for LSU, the biggest question mark for them is going to be a quarterback. They haven't named who their quarterback is going to be yet. Saw where the one guy, what's his name, Miles Brennan, he said, "Hey, I'm out. I'm retiring. I'll just take my Neal money and just bow out." So, but he's had some nagging injuries over the past couple of years. But they did bring in the quarterback from Arizona State, who is Jaden Daniels, I think is his name.
That's it.
And he's he can run the ball. I mean, he's a really good dual threat quarterback, talented. I would be surprised if he doesn't get the start, if he doesn't get the nod on that. I think he'll play either way, but another player to look for in this game is one of my favorite names in college football. Is Keishawn Butte.
That's right.
That dude is a playmaker. Right. He's a beast on the outside. So I don't know. This one,
LSU's a 3-point favorite.
I'm going to have to say LSU wins this one 38-24. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. Go Tigers. That's right. I'm with you. They still haven't named the quarterback yet. Jaden does have some experience to transfer from Arizona State. Three-year starter at Arizona State coming in. And then the other guy's the Nussmeier. That's a cool name, too. You got Garrett Nussmeier, who he got some reps last year, and he had to step in and played really well in the overtime game against Arkansas. If folks remember that, he came in and really kept LSU in that game.
His dad's a coach, isn't he?
Yes, old Doug.
Yeah,
that's right. So he's got some football in his blood, and they say he had a really good spring. So we may see both of them play. To your point, we may see that. And I also wonder, is it a disadvantage to play at now they are the Caesars Palace Superdome now. As an LSU fan, would you rather be at Tiger Stadium at 6:30 at night? Yeah. I think I would too.
Because there's no there's no atmosphere like Death Valley. I mean,
At night.
The buses, the fans are shaking the opposing team's buses when they come in, and man, I've seen some bad stuff in Death Valley in the times that I've been there. So it's an intimidating place to play. But
it is. It's an intimidating place to go to as a fan too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Florida State, on the other hand, man, they've just been struggling.
They have
had a bad year the last 2 years. I don't see it getting much better for them this year.
Yeah, it has been a struggle. It's one of those that that's a fan base that just is used to winning, and all the way from Bowden, to Jimbo, and now you're seeing where you mentioned something a second ago with these NIL deals. It seems like that's being one of those things that is hitting Florida State with the in-house competition for talent. Miami's got a really big checkbook. Florida's got a big, or not the school, but the donors, the people doing the NIL stuff. And that has created a whole nother layer of challenges, for them to try to compete and get that program back to where it used to be.
Absolutely.
I know my brother-in-law is hoping they can figure that out, but I know it has been a challenge for them. I think this will be, I think it'll be a good game. But I think I'm with you. I'm going to roll with the Tigers. Go Tigers.
Tigers.
I think the Tigers pull it out. All right, and then our tiebreaker game. So if we're picking these 5 games. Remember, we're picking against the spread. If we have ties, we will go to the tiebreaker game. So we got Notre Dame, we got Ohio State. When you pick this on the site, you will put your score prediction in. So you would put Notre Dame, whatever you think they will pick, and you will pick Ohio State, whatever you think they will score. The way we'll narrow that down is if you pick the winning team, we'll pick those folks first, and then we're going to see what the margin was between the difference of the 2 scores. So Tyler and I have our calculators and all that stuff to figure that out, but we'll pick that out. So that is how you will select it when you pick your score in the on the site. With the description down below. So Tyler, thoughts? This is a playoff, first round playoff game that we have on week 1.
Yeah, I think, man, Notre Dame's got a new coach coming in. There's a lot of hype about him. He's a great recruiter. He's very well respected. The players love him up there. They're expecting a lot out of him. Ohio State is stacked.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to be able to put some points on the board. Their quarterback will be a Heisman contender again this year, most likely. It's going to be to beat them. You're definitely going to have to be able to put some points on the board. And I don't know. I didn't research this game very much. And so I do know the mascots.
There you go.
Yeah, Leprechaun, right?
That's right. And the Buckeye.
And the Buckeye. So I have in this one, as far as a score pick, I'm going to go with the Buckeyes. $38. Notre Dame, 31.
Wow. Okay, I like it. Ohio State. They're in that bucket of just dominating the North from a recruiting standpoint, taking advantage of the portal guys. That are entering the portal. Almost like how well Bama has done. You see that with Ohio State. Hasn't parlayed into Ohio State having success against Bama. Sorry, Ohio State fans, but they do dominate that area. They're strong. There is a talented group that's coming back. Some unknowns with Notre Dame, new coach, some holes to fill. This is a tough matchup for Notre Dame week 1. I think.
Where is this game?
This game is in Ohio.
Okay.
Yeah, so Ohio State is the home team in this game.
Is this what time were they playing? Do you know on that one?
I don't know the time.
Do they play night games in the old Horseshoe or whatever that thing's called?
Yeah,
they usually play 11 o'clock.
That's right.
Beer and a biscuit game.
And snow.
Yeah.
Beer and a biscuit and snow. That's right.
Very few games seems like they use their lights, almost like Wrigley Field.
True.
They don't use the lights much up there, but Maybe that's just because it gets so cold up there. But
It could be. Yeah.
I think weather should be okay.
Yeah, I think this time of year. I'm gonna go a little out here. I'm gonna go 42-13 Ohio State.
Oh, wow.
I think experience, strength, home field advantage, but I think Ohio State is just tired of constantly hearing about Georgia, Bama, and them not being able to kind of punch it through here lately. So I think, kind of like I said with Bama, I think Ohio State's got a little bit of chip on their shoulder. This is a marquee game where they can come out and try to punch somebody in the mouth and make a statement. So we'll see. But again, like my caveat at the beginning, usually I'm not right. So it's a good chance that if somebody picks the other way against Notre Dame, they may have a shot there.
I don't see a chance of that score being flipped.
Agreed.
I don't see any chance of that.
Agreed.
But so either way, we've got Ohio State winning.
Yep. All right,
guys.
Well, we'll see how we do. We'll see how everybody else does. And hey, one more mortgage win before we leave. Tyler, you and I were talking about this before we came on today, and we mentioned it just a second ago around some things that we need to happen in order to free up some inventory and kind of get the market to settle down a little bit. We talked about new construction.
Yep.
And here in the Central Alabama region, we are blessed with we've got some amazing home builders here in Central Alabama, very experienced, been building houses for a long time. And we still have a lot of new construction that's being built in the Montgomery area. There's 2 or 3 new subdivisions that are coming in the Montgomery area. Pike Road continues to explode. We still are seeing new construction in your neck of the woods, and Wetumpka and Prattville. There's a lot of new construction that's going on, and there's options that are there. One thing that folks may not be aware of is as folks are, maybe hearing some of the noise around interest rates and those things. True enough, interest rates have had some instability, I would say, year to date, right?
It's a good way to put it.
A few months ago, I was quoting rates in the high 6s, and then even here recently, I've quoted some close to 4, so there is some instability. But man, we've got a really, really cool option for clients that are building, a long-term lock option that protects our clients. So for those of you that are looking at a new construction house, the builder's telling you, hey, it could take us 6-8 months. There are some unknowns still with supplies to come in. We can lock a rate for a client all the way up to a year. We can lock a rate for 6, 8, 9, 12 months, whatever time frame that you need. And we'll add in a buffer just to be safe in case there are some delays, because that stuff happens. Weather happens. There could be a supplier issue that may push you back a couple of weeks. We've got a long-term option, Tyler, that does 2 things. One, locking in on long-term protects you if the market goes up, right? So if we lock in today at a rate and rates go up 0.5%, we're good because the rate's locked in. It's not impacting us. On the flip side, we also have what's called a float down option. So if we've got you locked in and then you get close to closing and rates have gone down, instead of a client having to start over with another lender, go through that whole process again, we have the ability to do a one-time relock at the lower rate if the rates go down. So win-win situation, protects the client. Worst case scenario, your rate is what you originally lock in at. Best case, market settles down, rates go down, and you can take advantage of a lower rate once you get closer to closing. So if you haven't gone out and checked out, we've got some, like I said, some incredible builders. We've got some incredible properties, and there's some that are in my neighborhood. There's a couple of properties that were finished a couple of weeks ago, and they're looking for somebody to move in. So there's some that's available.
I ran into a builder the other day in the gym. We were talking. He builds up at the lake, and man, he's wide open up there. So I mean, that's a completely different world at
No
Lake
doubt.
Martin for sure. But we are very blessed to have in this market some incredible home builders, some great neighborhoods, and more coming.
Yeah, that's right.
Pike Road about to have a big new neighborhood that'll be coming in the very near future that they'll be starting on, and so a lot of stuff. So if you don't get discouraged because you can't find an existing home, because there's good builders out there that can definitely get you in one.
Amen. All right, Tyler, that's week 1, man.
Awesome.
Looking forward to seeing the picks that come in. So again, there will be a link in the description down below. You click on that link, it will take you to the site to make your picks. Very easy. You just click the radio button. next to your pick. And remember, we're picking against the spread, so we're not picking the winner. We're picking against the spread. And then make sure you put in your score prediction for Ohio State Notre Dame in case we get to a tiebreaker. Tyler and I will come together on Monday, figure out the winner. We'll put a video together to announce it, reach out to the winner, and we'll have some cool gear that we're going to give out to the winner next week. And then we'll do this again next week. We're going to do this all throughout the football season. Man, looking forward to doing this and talking real estate and football together.
Oh, man, those are two of my favorite things right
Man,
there.
me too.
This has been a lot of fun. Looking forward to seeing how these games turn out and continuing to do this week after week. This is going to be a lot of fun.
I agree. All right, and I'll put contact information for Tyler and I in the bottom as well if we can help you, if you need to get pre-qualified. Hey, and some people are still looking, maybe there are some refinances that may still be out there. If you're looking to consolidate debt, folks are getting kids back in college, and there's a lot of talk about student loans and that stuff. There's multiple ways that Tyler and I and our great company, Movement Mortgage, could help you. So any questions you have, I'll put our contact information below. Reach out. We're glad to help you any way that you may need it with all of your real estate and mortgage needs.
You mentioned that about the refinances, but I mean, what's happening with inflation is the cost of everything's going up.
Yeah,
right?
man,
So,
golly.
I mean, the cost of groceries, the cost of gas, the cost of utility. I mean, seems like every bill that we're getting these days is more expensive than it was this time last year. And one of the ways to help offset, I don't know if you can technically offset inflation, but one way, the other thing, when the Fed raises the rates, it doesn't impact the mortgage rates as much as it impacts all of the other lending world, your credit cards. So,
right.
Your credit cards are variable rates. Every time they do a 0.75% increase on those, your rate just went up, and so did your payment on those credit cards.
Yep.
And so one good way to knock those out is, you've probably seen an increase in equity over the past year, and you may have the opportunity to be able to consolidate some of that debt like you were talking about. Or, a lot of people too are staying put these days and deciding to do home improvements instead of moving, making the home the way they want it instead of going out and finding something else. So we're seeing a lot of that too, especially with the way people are not going into the office as much anymore. Right. They're building home offices, man caves to watch football, outdoor kitchen, putting in a pool. There's a lot of things that we can help you with. If any of those are things that sound like your situation or you'd like to do, give us a call.
Yep, love to help you. All right, week 1 in the books. Contact information below. Link is below as well. Hit the subscribe button. That way you will get notified once we come back on with these future episodes. And we'll see you on Monday with the winner, and then we'll see you next week for week 2. Have a great day.
See you soon.